Hi, welcome to Gotta Ping, a careers podcast you should listen to if you want to grow your career online and offline. Hi, my name is Mei Ping, and I'm a professional career coach and international speaker with more than a decade of experience at some of the biggest companies in the world. To learn more about what I do, visit meiping.com. That's meiping.com. All right, let's jump right into today's episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of my Gotta Ping, a careers podcast that you should listen to if you are serious about your corporate career. So today I actually have a very interesting topic I want to talk about, and this was basically inspired by a poll on LinkedIn where the question is really this: should young people work on weekends? Because the general connotation is that, hey, if you are young and you don't know much, then maybe you should spend more time, particularly on weekends, trying to do more work, right? Investing more time in, I guess, your day-to-day deliverables. So today I want to talk about that a little bit. And this article is also generally quite interesting because my Career Insight was featured by the LinkedIn News team. And my opinion is this, right? I think that there is a way, and I think there are various methods for you to achieve the same result, if not achieve better results, but spending less time. But the secret is really this, right? Spending focused time. So it is not saying that, you don't want to work on weekends or you want to work on weekends. At the end of the day, it's your personal decision, depending on, I guess, how fast you want to accelerate your career. However, just a quick reminder for all of you young professionals out there, it's very easy to get started in your new job. And likely this is maybe your first job, right? You are motivated, you are enthusiastic. There's just so much that you want to do. And coupled with the whole personal branding, visibility storyline that you hear on social media a lot, I think there is a lot of pressure for young professionals to want to quickly prove themselves, right? Want to be able to speak up and take on more work and try to demonstrate that they could do a lot. The key consideration point now is this, right? Is it better to take on more work that you eventually cannot deliver, or actually try to focus on the scope and roles and responsibilities that you're pretty much hired to do in the first place, and making sure that you do those well first before you go and volunteer for new work? So I can share with you guys a really quick story. So I have a client who is in a management trainee sort of program. So he has been working for about a year or so. And he has also fallen into this, I need to volunteer for more work idea, where he's spending all his weekends working. He is spending a lot of time working. But the challenge is this, right? He is actually not achieving more. In fact, it has gotten downhill because he ends up volunteering for work, even though he couldn't finish his original scope, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is this, right? It is a good mindset and good attitude of wanting to show that you're enthusiastic and motivated. However, if you are breaching some sort of boundary and consistently giving 200, 300%, there will be a point where you will burn out. And I always tell my clients, right, your career is like a marathon. It's not exactly a sprint. So the faster you try to push through in the first, 1 or 2 years, because at that time you're still fairly enthusiastic, then guess what, right? You try to move up so quickly, eventually you might crash. So balance is important. And I guess I'm not saying that you shouldn't put in the effort, but if you do want to put in the effort, make sure that it is targeted and you have a really clear idea of what you are trying to do, so that you could really achieve more. Not putting in the effort, hoping that you will achieve more, and you spend so much time, eventually your boss may not still be very happy with the quality of your work. Okay, so let me share with you maybe 3 quick ideas on how you can achieve more by, I guess, working less at work. So number one actually is understanding different communication styles. And the reason why this is really important is because if you cannot understand or fully resonate with the way that your boss, your colleague, or your stakeholder is communicating in terms of like the intention of what they actually want in the piece of work, what will happen is that you will spend a lot of time trying to do what you think they want, but not exactly what they actually want. So you may find that after putting in a lot of effort, right, when you finally deliver that piece of work, it is not exactly to the standards or expectation, and you may end up having to redo the entire piece of work. So this actually wastes a lot of time, energy, and of course it is also very demotivating. So clarify, right? Practice good listening skills, practice good clarification skills, paraphrasing skills, so that you can really understand the intention of the work that is being communicated, so that you can actually focus on it. And if you choose to want to work on weekend, you can feel free to do so. The second tip is this, right? I noticed that a lot of young professionals, sometimes like they couldn't really jump into the job so quickly, or they kind of like require a lot of time to I guess, adapt. It's because they lack industry knowledge. So industry knowledge or best practices is not exactly something that you will learn in the university. And if you're just waiting for your boss to teach you that, or to only pick that up during your, I guess, 9 to 5 working hours, it might be a little bit slow in terms of progress, when nowadays in the pandemic, a lot of work just like keeps coming in, right? So what you can do is maybe to invest a couple of hours, maybe after work or even on weekends, so that you can just read up, go on Google, go on like different industry platforms, industry portals, just read up a little bit more on the industry terminologies, right? The latest news, the latest updates. This is really critical, so that when you are at work, when you hear your bosses, your stakeholder and your colleagues mention certain industry-specific terminologies, you understand that very quickly. Otherwise, what will happen is that you will be lost. And when you feel lost, there is a lot of anxiety that comes with it. And of course, if you feel anxiety, you're feeling lost, it's likely that you will not take any action, because you are so confused to begin with. So you can actually accelerate your learning by spending some extra bit of time, just improving some of your industry knowledge, some best practices that you can pretty much pick up online, and you don't have to wait till working hours to be able to do that. So the third tip is this, right? The third tip, I think, is really critical for you to identify any skills gaps that you may have. So when I say skills gap, it could mean gaps in technical skills that's actually required to deliver your day-to-day roles and responsibilities, as well as maybe gaps in terms of like soft skills. So I can give you a quick example. Maybe your role requires you to work with different kind of stakeholders, right? And to work with different kind of stakeholders, maybe in a project capacity, you kind of need to be a fairly organized person. But what if organizational skills is not something that you're actually really good at? Then if you really want to spend time learning and improving a skill, then maybe choose that one skill to work on. So normally my 2-week trainings, I actually go through a very detailed skills gap assessment process, but this is something that you could also do on your own. So just carve out a little bit of time and really conduct a skills gap assessment on kind of like where you are in terms of like your technical and soft skills, which are the ones that you're not that good at, and basically those are the ones that you need to improve first. So nowadays, when I talk to a lot of young professionals, learning nowadays is a very, very cool thing. Everybody's like publishing all their certifications and so forth online. But learning that really allows you to be productive, efficient, effective, and really achieve the final results, to me, that is real learning. The rest of the stuff, right, in my view, is hobby. It's a hobby because it does not actually help you in your corporate job. I mean, it's fun, right, to learn Spanish or whatever, but if you want to do targeted learning, then make sure that it actually specifically addresses a certain point that is able to help you move forward in your career, right? Help you accelerate that. So a couple of things that you could focus on, depending on, I guess, kind of where you are in your career. Number one could be industry knowledge, as I mentioned. Number two, it could be some technical skills that you will require, different tools, softwares, whatever that is. And thirdly, and never forget, soft skills, because soft skills is the foundation. Even if you don't really know how to do your job, if you can't communicate that and try to ask for more time and provide updates on a timely basis, all those other soft skills related stuff, then it's probably going to be even more challenging. So the point in this very short episode is just to challenge you guys to think about, what learning actually is, and is it truly necessary to be spending a lot of hours if you are not really getting the result and achieving more? Because if that is not happening, what that means is that you need a change in strategy, so we don't keep going down a path that we know will lead nowhere, right? So that is basically the main point that I want to share today. And thank you so much to the LinkedIn News team for featuring my career insights on whether young people should be working weekends. And I think my answer here is a fairly clear no. But if you're doing targeted learning, then I highly encourage it, because you'll be able to accelerate your career massively only if you are doing targeted and very specific learning. So with that, I wish you guys all the best, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Thank you for listening to this episode. For more awesome content like this, remember to like and subscribe. Also, head on over to my website, meiping.com, that's meiping.com, and subscribe to my weekly newsletter for more career growth and personal development tips. You can find the links in the description box below. Once again, you're listening to Gotta Ping, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!